last few trading sessions, we've only been looking at currencies and commodities, but I think a lot of traders have not been looking at the indices. So when I talk about indices, you're looking at something like the Nifty index that exists in the Indian market, right, which is more like a group of stocks, right? So when you talk about Nifty, you're talking about 50 top performing companies in India. Similarly, you have the USA 30 index, right? As the name suggests, this includes the top 30 companies in the US. You're talking about the top 30 performing companies in the US. And apart from that, we are going to have a look at Tech 100, which is also called NASDAQ, right? So when I talk about Tech 100, this is one of my favorite instruments, which includes the top technology 100 companies from the US. So if I have to look at the components for you to have an idea, you're talking about companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, Google, which is also named as Alphabet, right? Facebook, which is named as Meta Platforms, right? Nvidia is another component. Nvidia is a name that a lot of tech-savvy people might be aware about. This company is into the manufacturing of graphic cards, right? Then you have Broadcom and a lot of other technology-related companies, and you're talking about, the 100 companies. It's an index, a bucket of 100 companies, right? Now, when we have a look at the graph for Technology 100 or NASDAQ, right, I may be able to tell you that the long-term aspect for this market is bullish, right? So when I say the long term, I've been looking at this instrument right from the time when this instrument was priced at, anywhere close to $9,000, right? And today the price is close to 12,500. A move from a level of 9,000 to a level of 12,500, right? Over a span of 2 years of time. So if I have a look at the price in March 2020, it's close to a 9,000, right? And today the price is 12,500. A price of 12,500 after the Ukraine-Russia, drop. So before the Ukraine-Russia drop, the market stood at somewhere close to 16,500. So if I'm a trader, if I'm a long-term investor, if I invest like a very small quantity on the Tech 100, like a contract size of 5, right? And if I buy at a level of, maybe 2 years back, I buy 5 quantity at a level of 9,000. I sell it off at a level of 16,000. That's a move of almost 5,000 points, right? A move of 5,000 points in a 5 contracts easily could have given me a profit of close to $25,000 in a span of not more than 2 years, right? So I'm going to be sharing images and the movement as to how this movement has been. So similar to this is where you have USA 30, which is also called the Dow Jones. So the price for Tech 100 is somewhere close to 12,500 as of now, and the Dow Jones index is almost twice the price, right? And the major difference between these two indices is that with USA 30, you may expect a very quick movement. So, a lot of traders would look at maybe a 50 or a 100-point move in this index. So with the USA 30, the daily range of movement is anywhere close to a 300 to 400 points, right? Targeting a movement of, let's say, a 50 or a 30 or a 25-point movement may not be a difficult task. So if I am, a scalper, and if I trade with 5 quantities and I target a 25-point move, I'm done with booking a profit of $100, for the day, and I quit then and there for the day, right? So just like we've looked at the Tech 100 index and its components, I also want you to look at USA 30, which is also called the Dow Jones index, and it's 30 components. So like the name suggests, USA 30, it has the 30 top performing companies from the US. So we are talking about companies like American Express, Coca-Cola, Chevron, Boeing, which is an airline manufacturing company, Home Depot. So the list is endless. You're talking about the top blue chip companies that are in the US that are included in this index, and USA 30 is a group or a basket of these stocks. So whatever movement that you see on these stocks is a collective movement that you see on USA 30, and that is the only one reason the long-term movement for this instrument has been bullish. So as an accounts manager, I've been looking at this instrument for the last 5+ years, where there was a time where USA 30 stood at a price of maybe less than $10,000 to $12,000, right? But today this instrument is priced at almost $32,000, right? The best part is with MTrading, you have a leverage, and you can trade with the smallest contract with a margin of not more than $20 to $30. That's the required margin. That does not mean that you trade with $20 or $30. Overall, maybe if you want to start trading and you really want to be successful at it, risk management is one of the most important concepts that need to be implemented, right? Speaking about risk management, the higher your backup, the lower is your risk. So imagine if you are a trader and you bought USA 30 at a price when the pandemic had struck and the markets were down to a level of 18,000, right? I have traders who've done this. They've bought from the lowest level possible, right, during the pandemic at a level of 18,000, and imagine the amount of profits they have today on the account, right? So if I look at the graph on USA 30 today, moving average is one of the indicators that you guys may be able to use with USA 30 and get good signals or good levels. So if I look at the moving average, the 200-day moving average on USA 30, on the 1 hour time frame, I see that the market has just crossed the moving average and has moved upside. So this is a very good level where you may be able to go for some buy positions with a stop loss just below the moving average. So which means if I pull up the graph and I look at the history, whenever I've seen the market cross the moving average, I've seen that the market has taken a boom. There's been a good move on the upside, right? So this is a similar situation. The market has moved up the moving average. It's possible that we move up to a level of almost another you could say 2,000 to 3,000 points, not in a day, right? But then yes, it may take another 1 week, 2 weeks of time, depending upon how buyers start buying this trade. So if I look at the long-term aspect, over the next 2 months, there are websites and there are analysts who indicate that the market may be at a level of $35,000, right? So if I'm buying, if I were in your place, I would go for a small contract on the buy direction, and I may be able to put it on hold for the next 2 months, and I may expect a profit of $2,000 very easily, right? Also, the downside, if I look at the downside, since the market has just crossed the moving average on the upper side, right? So I can place a stop loss very close to the current level, right? Because if the market crosses this moving average downwards, you may expect it to go down further below, right? So I could place my stop loss maybe another 200 to 300 points and take profit for a 2,000 points. So speaking about the risk reward ratio, that's almost a 1:10 ratio. So if I'm losing, I lose 200. If I'm making, I make $2,000, right? So I think these are the kind of risk reward trades that most of the clients look for. But when you talk about these kind of instruments like the USA 30 and NASDAQ, these are not small instruments. These are indices from the US. These are top performing companies from the US, right? And the long-term aspect on these companies, like I said before, is bullish, right? So imagine if I were a trader, I would have bought it like this instrument maybe 2 or 3 years back. Putting it on hold may have given me an immense amount of profit, right? The USA 30 is not something that you may want to trade on an intraday. So I come across a lot of traders who tell me that, I want to book the profits on the same day. So this is not the kind of instrument that you may want to trade on. But if you have the right kind of patience and the right kind of backup on this instrument, there is nothing that can stop you from making money on this instrument, right? The best part is you have a leverage that is available on MTrading on the platform, a leverage of 1:500, where you'll be able to buy this instrument, which is priced at $32,000. You're able to buy it and trade on it with a margin of not more than $6 or $10 per contract, right? So we'll be sharing more updates, as and when we see some good movements on this instrument. And to summarize and to conclude, over the next 2 to 3 months, you may expect a movement of another 2,000 to 3,000 points on this instrument. So buying it and putting it on hold with the right kind of backup may be the right kind of action as of now. Speaking about risk management, if I have an account size of, let's say, a $5,000, and I'm maybe using a very small part of out of it to trade, I have an immense amount of backup. There is very little that I may be able to lose, right? For example, if I have $5,000, I'm using, let's say, $60 to open one trade, right? I have a backup for more than 4,000 points downside on this instrument, which means the market has to go down back to 28,000 for my account to be in trouble, right? And that's hardly the kind of levels that we may be able to see on USA 30 as an instrument. So that's pretty much about it, and we'll be sharing more updates on other indices like the UK 100, Germany 30, which is also known as Germany 40 as of now, and and the same instruments Tech 100 and USA 30 will also be sharing more updates. Okay, so that's pretty much about it. Thank you.